Hi, you're watching Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our platforms and even the ones they haven't invented yet. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio, and that gentleman over there is.
Rick Levy in San Diego.
And Rick, stand up and show the crowd. Look at this merchandise. Isn't that cool?
This could be yours too.
This could be yours too. Well, all of them could be yours too. And Rick will come with him.
For the low price of $20.
Hey, it's our new Tequila Aficionado Teespring shop that is available everywhere now, including right on Facebook, hopefully quickly right on Instagram. And you can go directly to there and get your own limited edition Tequila Aficionado merchandise.
Limited edition in that they only print out the ones that you buy.
That's it. Exactly. That's why it's so limited. But, speaking of limited editions and exclusivity and stuff that has never, ever, ever been tasted except by a select few people in the last 10 years, this evening, Rick, you and I have the extreme pleasure of tasting Tequila David Reyes. Now, for those of you who have been following Tequila Aficionado for so long, you know that Alex and I did a tasting of David Reyes years ago, and you can see that now and listen to it on iTunes and on our website and YouTube as well. It is literally the only original tasting and review of this tequila. And there's a reason for that. The gentleman, David Reyes, is a master agave grower, and this is his private reserve that was never meant for public consumption. So basically, Rick, you and I have been anointed and chosen to retaste this tequila because it is now coming into the United States in a very, very limited in a very limited way. Let's put it that way. So I couldn't think of anyone else that we wanted to share this with besides you. So you have the distinction, literally the distinction of having one of the few bottles in existence of this tequila. I know people who have been friends of mine and people that I knew back in Albuquerque that are hoarding what's left of their bottle because they could never get it into the United States. They couldn't, you can't even get it in Mexico. It's not like you go duty free and buy it. You have to know this gentleman. You have to know this agave grower, David Reyes, before you can even get a bottle from him. So, or China, from my understanding. But
so how's it being brought in? What's the plan?
There is a new David. I've known David for over 10 years, and he's very particular about not only how he grows his agave, but he's very particular about how he wanted this tequila to be brought into the United States. He didn't want to go commercial. He didn't want to do the flashy bottle. Everything that you want in a real tequila is inside the bottle. That's why it's very, what did Leonardo da Vinci say? That simplicity is the elegance is simplicity, something like that. And that's why the bottle is so clear, because there's nothing, he's not hiding anything. There's nothing. This bottle here was sent to me by another friend of David's, and I've had it for at least 3 years, maybe. And prior to that, I hadn't had any since the first original bottles that he brought with him into New Mexico. So anyway, the plan is there's a new importer. I'm sorry. It's Wan Imports, as in Paul Wan is the owner. He was selected by David, hand selected after 10 years or more, to bring this tequila to market. And
so has he been building up stock over the past 10 years, or is this 10-year-old juice in the bottle, or?
This one is well, he doesn't rest anything. So if it's been sitting anywhere, it's been sitting either in a silo or in a bottle. He refuses to use any additives. He doesn't even rest it in barrels right now. The only style you can get it in is in Blanco. And the quality of the juice is the same from the very first day that I remember having it. When we did that first original podcast until I had this bottle 3 years ago sent to me, it hasn't changed at all. So there's nothing that he's doing. It's the same process. He is a master agave grower, which means that he's very sought after. So he sells his agave, his mature agave. He sells them from 5 years old and up only. So he's not one of those guys that's selling the 2 and 4 year old agave. He's not selling it. He doesn't have to, because he goes so much against the wisdom that in years of glut, he plants more, so that when, like it is now, when a time of crisis, he's sitting in the catbird seat and he sells to all the big names that you've heard of. You know, name a tequila you've heard of before, he has sold to them. I don't want to divulge too much because he's really a wonderful guy and he tells a lot of great stories. But there have been people who have romanced him, and he has said no to, because his agave is not ready, and he's just his growing protocols. They're not certified organic, but they're about as organic as you can get. Okay. Plus, my understanding is now, last time I spoke to David, he actually has. He's had these I'm not sure if it's photography or what, but it's a way for satellites to picture where his fields are. So when it rains, he knows which fields need more water than others, and he can actually channel the water where it needs it most, and that's coming from space. That's a fairly new technique, because he calls it aggressive growing techniques, where, you know, maybe one day he'll be certified organic, but that's neither here nor there. So this is as close to pure as it possibly gets. No additives, nothing. So I don't know all the particulars. Like, I'm not exactly sure where all of his fields are.
Oh, I was just gonna say, ¿Dónde está la huerta?
I know. There have been people that actually want to compare this. They want to do a side by side between this one and cosecha. The trouble with cosecha is that it's at a higher ABV. This is only 80 proof. Okay. Depending on whether there's any demand for this style of juice, he may one day do a higher ABV. He's not in any hurry. He is probably one of the most successful agave growers in the region, with some high-level friends. His bricks of his agave typically come in at 30 plus. And in this day and age, that's unheard of. You know, that's almost like old style. You know, there are very, very few. I think you and I can count on our hands how many agave growers can actually say that they're getting anywhere, you know, from 30 bricks and above on a consistent basis. And that's why he's paid the big bucks. Okay. So he's not hurting. It's not like, as I said before, this is a private reserve. This was something that he would, you know, if you and I were to show up at his place and, you know, take a look at the distillery and all that, we'd be sharing 3 or 4 of these bottles. And I got to tell you, you got to be real careful with this, because I hid it from myself. All right. Because it's this easy to go through. Between you and me, we could finish up a bottle without even blinking an eye. So, anyway, that's where that stands. I promise I'll get you. I know you're a nerd for information. I will If he was here, what would you ask him? Where the fields are, right?
Where the fields are, yeah.
I
And
know
then
that.
I'd ask him what else is growing nearby.
Okay. Okay.
And then I'd ask him a lot about his production process.
His distillation and fermentation, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And water. I think water is important for you as well. I think it's one of the key questions to ask. So I will get in touch with him, and maybe later on you and I can discuss. I'll have that set of answers for you. This was kind of a sudden thing. So as a matter of fact, this was my stash bottle. This is the way they sent me. This is how they
the way
sent
mine
me.
came too.
Yeah, yeah. As you can see, they really wrapped the hell out of it, because there is really only one case right now in the state of Illinois, and so these came from that existing case, which explains the care and that it was taken to wrap that up and send it to us. So, but I'm going to use this one.
Yeah, we've in the size box that it came in, we've gotten like 6-7 bottles in that same size box before.
Yeah, yeah. It was a lot of overkill, but that's because these bottles are right now they're so limited. Limited availability that we wanted to make sure that there wasn't any breakage. So, which is another one of the reasons why I enjoy this bottle. This reminds me of the old Espolón bottles. Remember the old Espolón bottles with the foil, with the foil label before Campari bought it? That was very similar. It's a very similar bottle. But anyway, enough of that. Let's taste it because I don't know if you've had any of it, if you had a chance to sneak a peek at it, but
I did sneak a sip.
That's kind of what I thought. I'm using the Jarrito with the long nose, and so are you, the long neck.
As well.
The Stossel Jarrito. Lingering bubbles. God, I love bubbles. The bubbles, when we do shake the bottle, it does look like shampoo bubbles. And even though my lighting here is not the greatest, it is really pristine. There's nothing in it, and the legs and tears are normal. They're beautiful. They're consistent. They're not runny or drippy or sticky.
It is bright and beautiful.
Yes.
It's not so shiny that it looks like mercury.
No, not like with the other ones that we had before. Yeah, and again, that's probably a good telltale sign for us because we had a few tequilas that were bright and shiny and almost like you said, like mercury. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but what I know him personally, and I know that he refuses to use anything. It's just water and just juice.
Wow, that is really beautiful, especially in the Jarrito. It's really
yeah, it really is doing it justice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, right in the center, there's like this hint of like an anise or something. Is that am I right? Like right in the center.
Yes. I'm enjoying the outer edges of the bloom here.
Yeah. These Jarritos are amazing. They really, you don't need a whole lot, and it really presents even more facets to the aromas than we thought. It's like every time we use them, you and I pick something else out that we haven't had in any other tequilas or flaws for that matter. So
yeah. So how else would you describe this? We're getting a great agave presence. It's not a like a sharp agave aroma. So, I wouldn't characterize it as green or
no. It's herbaceous. There's herbs there, obviously, if I'm getting a little bit of anise, but You're right. I have to ask what else is growing in the region where he's at. I'm not sure if there's any citrus trees that bloom there. I have a picture of him and one of his fields, and it's about 8 years old. This picture. I've been told by the importer that they refuse to use it, that they want more current pictures. But you should see this guy's a tall guy. He's a good six. He's about your height, okay? And those agave come up to his shoulders. In the pictures that I see, and as I recall correctly, that's maybe a 6 or 7 year old field. This guy knows everything about his plants.
It really is a beautiful nose. I would kind of compare. I probably would go to the Cosecha
Cosecha, yeah,
for comparison.
Yes. You just have to, if you're going to do that, just be aware that Cosecha is at a higher ABV.
Yeah.
So if you're getting this kind of a nose, already, and it's so funny, Rick. The first time I had it, and then after so many years of not tasting it, and then when they sent me this bottle 3 years ago, it just brought back this flood of memories from the first time Alex and I had it, and we were floored. We just went, wow. We had no descriptors, but wow.
Yeah, it's really quite lovely. It's not aggressive in any way. It's balanced, quite beautiful.
There may be some minerals, but nothing, it's not an Amatitan tequila, as far as I know.
Yeah. Well, the distillery is 1547 Integradora San Agustin. And that is outside, it's on the outer edge of Tototlan, on the way to, it's on the road north. The distillery is right before you get to San Agustin, on the way to Tepatitlan de Morelos.
Well, now again, Tepatitlan, that's just where the distillery is located. His fields are off-site. Chances are it's probably within the vicinity, but I'll make sure I find that.
If you look at the topography of the area, there is, there's a lot of differences in altitude. So there's a lot of different altitudes this could be grown at because it's on, the edge of some steep topography. And it's the same kind of situation over where Enrique Fonseca is growing his agaves for the cosecha in Totonilco.
So it's within striking distance, it's in the neighborhood probably.
Yeah. So
but like I say, I'll find out for sure.
There's
but
a possibility. There's a possibility that the microclimate could be similar. That maybe altitude. I do wonder. If there are fruit trees growing nearby or something like that. Because
maybe.
I almost want to say it's slightly floral.
But not overly floral, because you and I have had tequilas from a Totonilco, for instance, that were much more floral.
Yeah.
Even one or two from Arandas that might be considered floral too,
Yeah. That's probably not the right word, It's not flowery in any way. It's definitely agave. I'm wondering if maybe there's like some fruit blossom going on nearby or something.
Could be. All right. I really want to see your reaction when you taste it.
Oh, that really is lovely. Yeah, it's really beautiful on the palate going in. You can experience a lot of different things. And then as you're about ready to let it slide down, you get a pepper bloom on the back end.
Yes. Yeah, it's a gradual explosion of pepper instead of that instant in your middle of your palate. It grows on you. It really is a progressive peppering.
It's really beautiful. There's nothing aggressive about it, but there's a fair amount going on. Um, yeah, I wonder if you brought this up to the same ABV as the cosecha, if it would behave similarly, because this seems like it might be a little bit softer than the cosecha,
Yeah.
and that would be reasonable if with the cosecha being at a higher ABV.
Yeah. It's dangerously soft. I can tell, yeah, I can tell you for sure that it doesn't take, it takes more restraint not to keep filling your glass and filling your glass. But I will tell you from experience that between the two of us, we drained that bottle and it wouldn't take us very long.
We drained a bottle of the cosecha in Palm Springs last year.
Yeah, we did. We did. But that's the mark of the mark of the hand of the maker, which in this case, you're right, Enrique Fonseca and David Reyes really share that in common, is that they're agave growers first, and what they want to do is showcase the agave again, and to lump another name, Felipe Camarena, same way. Same way. I don't know if David will ever age something like this. If he does, I'd be really interested to find out how he would do his barrel management. But that's not in the picture right now. I think that would all depend on demand, really.
For the aficionados out there, I would certainly put this in the same category as the cosecha, the same class.
Yeah.
It's just a real aficionados tequila. But do we have any pricing on it? Because that's always a big part of my recommendation.
Because of exclusivity, the pricing may be more than most people would be willing to pay. And this has been, just for transparency and to be truthful, David and I have spoken off and on for 10 years. And he's always had a vision of how he wants this tequila to be priced, even when the luxury market didn't exist. Because, the premium and super premium and what they call ultra premium markets now, which are all pricing terms. They're not marketing terms as some people think they are. They're pricing terms. And the high end of the market has grown by leaps and bounds. You know that. I know that. The extra añejos, now they have extra añejo claro, clarified. They're aging it and then stripping the color. I don't get it. I don't know. But all of that whole segment of the market is increasing. When David wanted to see this priced at a certain price point, everybody, including me, including myself, we said nobody's going to want to pay that price. So he didn't, it wasn't something, getting this tequila to market was not something he aggressively pursued. He just waited and waited and waited until the moment was right. And obviously he's to the point now where he feels the moment is right, and he thinks that he feels he can command the pricing that he wants. I don't even want to repeat what the pricing is until, I know unofficially what they want to price it at. But that's not counting everybody else's margins. I'm just talking about his pricing. I'm not even talking about bottle service in Illinois and casinos, bottle service in Las Vegas. They're going to charge champagne prices for this bottle, and it'll be all about the juice. It's not going to be the fancy bottle that De Leon is. It's not going to be, I can tell you that right away. You're not going to see a fancy bottle. You're just not. So
does that make sense though? Because if you're going for the aficionados, then you do like Enrique did with a cosecha. You price it $80 to $100. You say, this is, this is the hand of the maker. It's the terroir of the agave. It's all about process. And then, of course, Enrique did a beautiful packaging too for the cosecha, but I could recommend this in that price range.
Well, let me tell you right now, this tequila. I think you would agree with me that this tequila is not for everybody. You have to graduate to this style of tequila, just like you graduate to a cosecha. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about aficionados. I'm not talking about collectors. I'm talking about people that are into fine living. And I know the term luxury and lifestyle have been thrown around a lot.
All right. So it's sounding like the pricing on this is going to be significantly higher than what I'm talking about. So if you're talking about very exclusive, you're talking about only being able to get this as bottle service in a high-end club in Vegas.
Right.
And if you're doing that, it doesn't really, if those people are going to spend that kind of price, they obviously have money to burn, but they may or may not be the aficionados. And so I would think that for those people at that price, you would want to go with a higher end packaging rather than a plastic sticker.
Hey, you know what? We've gone round and round and round with him about this. And all I can say is that, having spoken to him, and every time I speak to him, I just take notes. All right. So I have like 10 years worth of notes. Some are with me and some are in storage. But what I can tell you is that his vision hasn't changed a bit. And he's always gone against conventional wisdom. Okay. And he's been successful at doing so. He just has to be more patient than the average guy who comes into the market and says, I want to slap my private label, on a bottle and bring it to the market because I have the most wonderful tequila in the world. Because you and I hear that all the time. It's the best tequila y'all have ever tasted, and everyone is. Everybody does. You're going to have to earn this tequila. Not everybody. He understands it's not for everybody. The importers understand that as well. So it really is just a matter of how bad do you want to taste it. We can make comparisons. I like your comparison with cosecha. I didn't think of that immediately because, David is such a big personality that, you don't think of him, comparatively speaking with other big personalities that we know, Guillermo Souza and Germán González, all these guys, Felipe, Camarena, Carlos, all these guys they're all cut from the same cloth, but they're all really true old tequileros. And this guy's still alive, just like the other guys are. So, it's not for the Sauza drinker. It's not for the Patron drinker. It's not for any of that. This is really, truly something you're going to have to experience. And ultimately the bottom line is, how bad do you want to experience this tequila?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, after your comparison with cosecha and knowing what I know about his personality and who he is, he really is he's an old school guy using high tech methods and tried and true methods to make probably the purest tequila that, I'll still stand by what I said originally back when we did the first podcast. Probably the finest Blanco I've ever had.
Yeah.
And there's a few people who have bottles of these left that will agree with me.
But it sounds like his passion is really the agave. It's being the agavero, growing it, and that seems to be
we were never meant to have this bottle. Okay. The reason we have this bottle is because he hand selected us to have it. And even Don Julio, first of all, didn't drink. Number two, the tequila he was keeping for himself was just for family. It was never meant to be in public. It wasn't until somebody begged him and said, let me bring it to the market, that he allowed that to happen, because Don Julio was an agavero. That's it. So, it's almost like the Don Julio story. He's really a throwback tequila maker in a modern age. He's kind of living in two worlds, and it's difficult. But all I can say is I admire his stick-to-itiveness, his stubbornness, because it brought us this. You got to admit, this is really singing to you.
I can't keep my nose out of it.
There you go. See?
It is.
I'm way over here. I'm way over here, and I can get it. Now it's blooming a little bit more in the glass. And again, Stossel, the jarrito. This is to me, this is the finest vessel for agave spirits manufactured today. So wait till you get your hands on this, because it really allows us to fully enjoy the nose without. We have very little of a sample in there.
Yeah. Well, I have very little of a sample left.
Yeah. Well,
But, okay. So you're going to have to find the fanciest club in Vegas to go and find this thing.
Believe it or not,
you're probably only going to buy a single pour. Don't let them serve it to you in a shot glass.
Right.
Make sure it's in a serious.
Yeah, make sure it's something that's
serious
like
vessel.
this. Right. I would say that first of all, I have been told from the importer that they already have a waiting list of people that are willing partners to have this on offer for their clientele. So again, it's a waiting list.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find your way into the fancy VIP room.
That's
you'll
it.
Probably have to shell out $100 for a pour.
Well, but here it is. Even if you never get a chance to try this tequila, we have just brought you behind the velvet rope into the VIP room and try to describe what this is. And the closest we can get is a high ABV tequila. That says a lot. I gotta say, the juice inside this glass or inside this bottle to me is worth every penny. And if I had that kind of money, I would gladly buy me a bottle and you one. And so, like I said, it isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
But, the great ones.
I have yet to taste baked agave, like an actual slice of baked agave in your hand that you eat. But I'm wondering if this comes close.
Well, to my understanding, and I'll be sure to ask, but I'm pretty sure that they're using autoclaves. Either way, autoclave or oven baked.
Well, distillery, it seems like a lot of the things that are made at this distillery are in masonry ovens.
Not sure what his process is. I'm so ignorant, and this is so new that these are things I have to get back to him, because we've never discussed that. Because the funny thing is, when we talk, it's always about current affairs, what's going on in the industry, how well his agave is growing, and it's never really about the process. Because to me, there was never a question, But then I got to know you, and there are certain questions that need to be asked. So
that's sort of like the Siskel and Ebert between the two of us. You're really into the personalities, and
he has his stories.
And I'm the nerd about what's the production process.
Yeah. No, and those are valid points. And I knew you'd have some more questions for me to ask. I have a list of questions to ask him. I'm hoping to get him maybe on an open bar before the end of the year, so he can discuss a little bit more about about the tequila. I know that they're going to roll out officially somewhere maybe, I want to say end of this month, beginning of June. I'm not sure what the timetable is, but somewhere along that line after they roll out officially in the state of Illinois, I would like to, I think he would be happy to go on an open bar with you and me. I think it'd be cool to have the three of us and have you, have him walk you through his process. I think you get a kick out of that. And he is he's a cool guy. He really is he's of course he's got Mexican heritage, but he has family in the United States. He grew up here. He's educated here. And there's a lot more than I know about his background, but we'll share that somewhere down the line. I just wanted to get your opinion on this, so that the three anchors of Tequila Aficionado now had this juice, and I can tell you from the first time Alex and I tasted it to right now where you tasted it, there has been no change. This is the same. It's the same exact juice. So there you have it, folks. Not a whole lot of information on the background, but there's a lot of goodness and a lot of comparisons being made right now. A lot of things being bandied about. And this guy's not just a flash in the pan. It wasn't like he just started and got into business. This guy's been a master agave grower for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
26 years.
And when you talk about this tequila being 10 years old, it has, I looked on the CRT lists. This has been on the CRT list for a good 10 years.
Yes, absolutely. So it's not a Johnny come lately. It's been the same.
It's been the same distillery the entire time.
Yeah. He doesn't, like I said, he's not in any hurry to bring this to market, and find find somebody to be the brand ambassador. And, when people are tasting this juice, they're going to come after him. Just like the major brands come to him for his agave. He's a catbird seat kind of guy.
If you're lucky enough to get a pour of this somewhere, make sure you get it in a Stossel Jarrito, or if that's not available, ask for it in a Glencairn whiskey glass.
Yes.
Don't let him bring it to you. Don't let him bring it to you in a flute. You want to have something that has, a bowl to it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to have the right glassware for this tequila. Although he'll tell you that's not even necessary, because I know the first time we had it, it was in real. That's all we had.
Well, yeah.
Even in the real, it was a shining example of what was possible for agave at that point. But hey, congratulations to David Reyes. What do you think? Do you think this is old enough for a legacy brand? I don't even know what category to put it in. It's a brand of promise for sure, but we'll figure out a category.
It certainly deserves to be an award winner.
Well, I depending on how the rollout goes mid-year, I'm hoping that maybe we can talk him into being at El Cholo and maybe pouring some for the VIPs there. We'll find out. We'll see. I'm going to beg. I'm going to crawl on hands and knees and ask him if he would be so kind. Because he really is great with people too. I mean, he was nice enough to do my very last show in New Mexico, which was a complete disaster, and he was still there. So he's a great guy, and who knows, man? You can pick his brain personally.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. That's our take on tequila. David Reyes. So exclusive. You can only get it in Illinois, and not yet. Probably by the time you see this, you will be able to go taste it somewhere. They'll have an official website. They will have Instagram. They will have Facebook. They will have some sort of social media. But keep an eye out. This tequila is finally, for those of you who have a bottle, and you know who you are, it's finally coming back. So congratulations to David Reyes. Rick, thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you, and thank you to David for sharing it with me.
I will get you your answers, I promise, and we'll have somewhere we'll have that additional information so that we can put that out there for the guys like you that really need to know just all the nuts and bolts. But wait till you meet the guy. Wait till you talk to him. He's really is full of great stories. So that's our take on Tequila Aficionado Media. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That young man is
Rick Levy in San Diego.
You've been watching Sipping Off the Cuff on all of our platforms. Don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, press that red button, and you'll make Rick a happy person.
And buy a T-shirt and make Mike a happy person.
Buy some. We have yoga pants. You look great in those yoga pants. Did you know that? Anyway,
no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
It'd make for a really comfortable night of tequila drinking, though.
Yeah, for some David Reyes, man. Woo! Whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.
I'm Mike Morales. I'm CEO of Tequila Aficionado Media, and I just wanted to thank you for watching Sipping Off the Cuff. We love doing these reviews for you. Now, if you're an Agave Spirits brand owner and you're watching this, there are 3 things that I'd like to talk to you about. Number 1, if you'd like us to review your Agave Spirit on Sipping Off the Cuff, just send me an email, mike@tequilaaficionado.com. It won't cost you a dime, and I promise you'll get an honest review. Number 2, if your brand has been nominated, past or present, as a brand of promise, we can help you promote your brand effectively and affordably over on the tequila PR side of things. Just email me, mike@tequilapr.com. And number 3, if your brand has ever been a Brand of Promise nominee or a winner, you automatically qualify with us, or to go with us on our next promotional tequila tour. So shoot me an email, tours@tequilaaficionado.com, and I'll send you all the details on our upcoming tequila tour. That's it. Thanks again for watching. Sip wisely.